Hey, deserving listeners, The Ultimatum, Netflix, Marry or Move On, Season 2, but kind of 3. Let's watch.
A bias towards Alex and just bias towards our situation. So everything I said, anything you said wasn't out of good intention.
Cool. That's not what I think. It was good intentions.
That's fine, but actions speak louder than words.
What were my actions?
Yeah, Kat, she's so good at this kind of communication. At first she just seemed like this massive people pleaser, but she might just be so secure that she's okay with putting herself aside for someone else. But when push comes to shove, she just plainly speaks. And, he shows evidence that he might kind of be like that. But anyway, but just in a more awkward way. But, yeah. So, she's like, it doesn't feel like you're actually trying to help me. It feels hostile. That's my words. And then, if she were truly trying to help Kat, you would think in this moment and others, she would say, oh, really? Oh, well, yeah, I'm sorry. I was really trying to help him, but, what do I know? You obviously know him way better than I do, but it was my opinion. Imagine what Alex would say to Antonio, what he kind of did say. What Alex would say, I think, would be something, well, I don't know. Alex can be a little overly, self-assured as well. The fact that Roxanne has this, in internal family systems language, she has this fighter or this, security guard or this soldier, whatever metaphor you want to put to it, that is so quick and so weird. That's when you see people, sort of like when these quote unquote Karen videos, when you will have a customer that is at McDonald's or something and they are asking for, I don't know, extra ketchup, and the person behind the counter says, oh, well, that's another 25 cents or something, and the customer just completely starts flipping out. What I see is someone that needed to have a very hypervigilant, quick response to injustice, because when they were young, if they didn't have that at the ready constantly, and you got to go 0 to 10 because you have to. You can't just kind of push back, because then you'll get bulldozed. You got to meet, fire with fire. And that's the only thing that'll keep you safe. And so there's this itchy trigger finger constantly ready. It's like at the first sign of injustice on me, because when I was young, I needed that. And I'm not saying that Roxanne is that far, but, she kind of has that. She's in that direction. She's very quick. And so with the quote-unquote Karen videos, it's disproportionate and weird. It doesn't make any sense. You're like, where did this come from? And if you work in customer service, you've seen this in the people that you work with, the customers. Like 1 out of 100, you'll just be like, where is this coming from? It's okay if you disagree, but my God, the emotionality or the hostility it's just extra ketchup. It's not that big of a deal. So with Roxanne, it has that look to it, right? It's just like, this isn't, it doesn't call for that right now. There's so many other options, but we saw her do this with Alex. You could see like, well, we don't really know what happened behind the scenes. Maybe he was this sort of person. I mean, Roxanne kind of had me convinced that Alex was this horrific human being. I mean, maybe he is, but there's not a lot of data in that direction. But with Kat, Roxanne is claiming she was altruistically trying to help Kat. And so when Kat's like, well, it didn't feel like you were trying to help me. It felt hostile. If you're truly thinking good thoughts towards Kat, then you would think, oh, I'm sorry. Or, oh, well, what makes you think? But this very quick, hostile response, like you can tell she does this a lot. It's a very weird kind of mode that she goes into, Roxanne. It's very quick, and I'm going to win this argument, and I'm very sure of myself, and I know what's going on. But from my point of view outside, Kat's already won the argument. And I'm pretty sure as it continues, she's going to continue to be more convincing than Roxanne. And I get the impression that Roxanne walks away thinking, I won that argument because I need to believe that because of this very fragile part of myself that I'm trying to protect.
That's fine, but actions speak louder than words.
What were my actions? That just the way I delivered it to you?
The words, exactly.
Exactly. So maybe you just, like I said, I'm very direct, and sometimes it comes off maybe not, but I have good intentions.
Yeah, we've heard that many times, that point of view of like, I'm very direct. It's a element of denial or self-assuredness or something. You can be direct without being a jerk. What did Tiff say? What was the phrase that Tiff said to Mildred? What was it? I'm sure you remember, but you can't just erase your behavior by saying that you're blunt and honest. Like if, what I was saying earlier about the shoes, I can't just walk up to them and say, like, you have terrible fashion and I hate the fact that you aren't wearing socks in your shoes. You're a disgusting person in your shoe, and your feet probably smell like crap, especially if you've worn those shoes more than once. Okay, I'm being authentic and honest, and I'm just telling it how it is, but that's an opinion, and I'm being a dick, and it's not nice. What's the point? It's like, it's because you're being honest, in quotes, doesn't mean that you're right.
I'm sure you walk all over Kat. I'm sure you make her feel weak. And I was like, first of all, Alex has never made me feel weak, and he has never walked over me, and he never will. He doesn't now. I'm sorry that maybe you felt like that in your trial marriage.
I feel like you're sitting there trying to stick up for Alex, like, he never does this to me, he never does that to me.
I mean, it does seem a little unbelievable. I mean, I'll have to take Kat on her word, but that those things have never happened, because if you've been together with someone long enough, those things happen almost, automatically in all relationships where, but maybe Kat is referring to the extent that Roxanne is getting at.
I mean, well, if everything was so perfect, what are y'all doing here?
I mean, it's not perfect, but I think the things that you were...
Yeah, Roxanne feels like, ooh, I really got him with that one. One, Kat didn't say they're perfect. Two, Alex was unsure about getting married. He just didn't know if he was ready for it.
And defending those. And I think when I defended myself because I wasn't agreeing with exactly what you said, you snapped and you turned on me for that. And you're kind of like gaslighting me.
But you were kind of agreeing with me that night. I hope you see from my perspective when you're agreeing with everything I'm saying, I'm like, damn, she feels this.
Yeah, that I will grant Roxanne from my memory, from the footage they showed, during the season. Roxanne was like, he's a liar, and he never admits that he's wrong, and he is shady, and he's inconsiderate. And Kat was like, huh? Yeah. Now it's possible that the version of passivity that Kat is, that even when she's disagreeing, she's nodding her head and saying yes. There seems to be some evidence that she has that pattern. And so in her heart, she's like disagreeing with everything that she's saying, but because she's trying to be nice or she feels threatened, outwardly she's agreeing. Because I do remember that. I was like, oh, so Kat agrees, and Kat would know more about Alex than Roxanne would. And Kat agrees that he's a liar and inconsiderate and never admits when he's wrong and all these horrible things. I do remember that. So, I think it's understandable that Roxanne thought, but you were agreeing with me.
I am so sorry, and I do thank you so much for helping me shift my mind and kind of help me work through this. And it was a real sorry. And I know you remember that night. We were all sitting there, and it was in front of like a couple people.
I apologize for being an agreeable listener. That is something that I'm working on. I'm not going to say yeah anymore. I'm just going to.
Okay. Yeah. So it is that, according to her. Yeah. Yeah. That really was confusing to me and Roxanne. because it wasn't like she was just nodding her head. She was like, "Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely." Yeah, she, from my memory anyway. So she recognizes that's a problem, and she's trying to change that because it is very misleading.
Listen.
I mean, these just feel like like not real apologies when, like, I feel like we're sitting here trying to be like, we're actually sorry for this, or I am sorry for certain things, and you guys are just like, sorry for being an agreeable listener. And
well, I mean, that's, I guess Kat could emphasize to be like, okay, well, I have this problem with being an agreeable listener, and I can see absolutely why you would think that I was agreeing with you, because I was agreeing with you, and that's misleading. And I understand why you thought that I was agreeing with you, because I was outwardly agreeing with you. So, but internally, I wasn't agreeing with you. I have that problem where I just, in tense situations, I just outwardly agree with people. I just go into this mode. So, yeah. But, Alex, I think he has a lot to work on regarding, depending on whether he wants to or it serves him, but I can't imagine him extending himself right now. But the other thing is that Roxanne said, I feel like we're apologizing. And I looked at the moment during the season that she was actually apologizing. But, she's not really now, because I don't think in her heart she is sorry for anything, and I don't know if she needs to be sorry. She should apologize for no, because Kat was agreeing with her. So it's just kind of like I did wonder if a lot of what was happening with the Alex and the Kat and the Roxanne situation, if there was just a lot of misunderstanding. They barely know each other, and they're in front of cameras, and they're just not understanding. And based on what each of them saw, it made sense to them to have the perspective that for Roxanne, Alex was a psychopath and Kat agreed. And it was reasonable for her to conclude that based on what she saw. And for Alex, Roxanne is mean to Antonio and just very disrespectful, because that's what Roxanne shows. But Antonio and Roxanne, in their daily life, they know something differently. But you could understand how someone from Alex's point of view and our point of view, that Roxanne is very disrespectful and, wouldn't be caught dead with Antonio. I want to point out Antonio's wearing socks. Although it could be a product of the fact that he has sort of mid boots or something, and it'd be weird not to wear socks with that, maybe. Anyway, so I did wonder if it was a misunderstanding, and from us as a viewpoint, we might agree with some of these takes, but we're only getting kind of a version of these individuals that is not really representative of who they are.
Oh, what we know now.
No. But are you glad you did it?
Yes.
There we go.
There it is.
Cheers to love always.
Cheers.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
All right. Well, that does it for that season. I kind of like how Netflix really condenses the show. It's easier to digest everything, but we lack a depth, a level of depth. But I also think that this season, it didn't seem like there was any shenanigans. I mean, there could have been. There wasn't any accusations of shenanigans. The producers editing something in a shady, deceptive way. That's nice. I don't remember ever thinking that. So, I mean, there were times when things were edited a little annoyingly, where they'd be getting into something kind of intense, and then you would, there was a moment even in this reunion where Alex was talking to Antonio and, saying, well, I said those things because I cared about you, and not cared about you, but he said, I felt like I couldn't live with myself if I didn't tell you what I thought about, the way Roxanne felt about you. And then Antonio said something like, yeah, I can see that. And then they cut him off. They didn't include what he said. I'd be really curious to see what Antonio said there. But so there are a lot of moments like that. But, you could argue it was just for time's sake. I'm pretty sure these reunions are filmed over several hours, and there's probably a lot of boring moments. So it's probably to spare the viewer to edit things down, to condense things. But yeah, I mean, a pretty good season. Gave me some things to grab onto. Had a chance to talk about splitting and projective identification and object relations and assertiveness. Are we, between Xander and Ray, where are we? Sounds like for Kat, she's somewhere in the middle and maybe, 60% towards the Xander side, but is trying to become more assertive and less of an accommodator, of an agreeer in conversations. It was great to see Lisa turn around from the hostility towards Raya to admitting that she was out of line and that she may have been affected by her pregnancy, and she regrets it. I mean, that was very satisfying. I just feel like I want to see justice. I respect Lisa for being able to say that. It's, I want to like everybody. So I feel like this season, just thinking about other seasons of these shows or even of the Ultimatum, like with Mildred and with some other folks, this season isn't very popular with people because it doesn't have but I don't know. I could imagine the Alex, Kat, Roxanne, Antonio, and the Lisa, Brian situation causing a lot of hubbub among the viewership, which drives people to watch. I don't know. So thanks for watching with me, and let me know what you think. And everyone, please take care of yourself. Truly, truly. You deserve to take care of yourself, which I want to point out involves other people taking care of you, because you deserve it. You really, really do.